Originating from the far-off world of Cybertron, the Transformers have left their home world and have become travelers amongst the stars. But as they traverse the cold void of space, they carry with them something that appears to be common among all higher life forms: war. With this war is waged between that of the Autobots and the Decepticons, and it has lasted for an untold length of time. At the end of the day, we are left with these questions: will this war ever end, and if it does, who will come out the victor? Greetings and welcome to Checkpoint Gaming. With this series of episodes, we will be going over how to play the game Transformers, the Trading Card Game. Transformers, the Trading Card Game, which we'll be referring to simply as Transformers from now on, was created and published by Wizards of the Coast. With Transformers, you take on the role of a number of Transformers in the form of teams and engage in battles with other players and their assembled teams. This will last until a win condition is met, typically through KO, or the allotted time has elapsed for the given battle, round, or game. With any trading card game, the barrier for entry can vary depending upon how you go about obtaining the cards. And besides being used to play a game, these cards also double as a collector's item so far as those who wish to have a complete set. They're going to have to cough up a lot of money in order to achieve this. For the bare minimum, you'll need to buy about 6 or 7 booster packs to have a minimum size deck, depending upon the wave in question, but going with one of the starter boxes, the Metroplex deck, or the Devastator deck, is a good way to achieve this minimum. But if you wish to have something more than just the minimum, you may need to buy an entire box of booster packs in order to get a good starting pool of characters and battle cards. There are also online sources for you to buy particular cards that you wish to have. Besides the cards, you will need to have damage counters. With these damage counters, they are used to keep track of any damage your characters sustain during the game. These can be represented by things like dice, coins, or dedicated counters with a number value printed on them. But whatever allows you and your opponent to keep track of damage on a given character should work. In addition to the cards themselves, there are a number of optional accessories available for players to use. With these accessories, they include sleeves, playmats, triple changer indicators, and dedicated damage counters. With the sleeves, they can be either large sleeves or soft sleeves, and they can vary in size from standard playing card size to the size of the characters. There are even sleeves for Titan-sized characters. With the playmats, they consist of nothing more than a neoprene mat that you can use to lay out your characters and engage in games. Since these are purely optional, you can choose from a large variety of items with different designs, patterns, and prints on them. It just depends upon your likes and desires. With the triple changer indicators, they are simply means of indicating which mode a triple changer finds itself in. This can consist of a plastic pointer placed at the top of a character or a dedicated sleeve with a slidable card built into it that will cover up the non-in-use mode of the character. With the dedicated damage counters, they come in paper form that's packed with certain Transformers products and are double-sided, or you can also obtain hard plastic counters that are one-sided but can come in designs that fit your tastes. With that taken care of, we can start talking about the game itself. In regards to the rules, we relied upon the officially published material that included the rules themselves, erratas, and frequently asked questions. But we did not include any fan-based information, though there is an active community that is not only helping to keep the game alive, but are producing their own fanfiction cards and generating their own rules, erratas, and frequently asked questions so that this game can continue going, even if only within the community itself. And they're doing their part to keep this game alive in one form or another, like what we hope to achieve, or at least contribute to, with this series. It is just our intent at this time to focus upon the officially released product that Wizards of the Coast published. When it comes to team and deck building, players are limited to how many stars each team and deck are allowed to have. With a player's team and deck, it will consist of both character cards and battle cards. With all character cards and some battle cards, they possess a star value which is shown by the number of stars found on that given card. With the star value, a player's team and deck can go up to, but not exceed, a value of 25 stars. So what that means is that your combined team and deck must consist of 25 stars or less. With your teams, you're allowed to have as many character cards as you want as long as it does not exceed the 25 star limit. To find the star value on each character card, look at the bottom of each character card on its alt mode side. Although the stars are only printed on the alt mode side, the character's star value will always remain the same regardless of what side is facing up. With character card selection, you cannot have more than one of each unique character on your team. This is based upon the full card name of the character, which includes the character's name and the descriptor, which is located just below the character name. Your team can also be cross-factional and it comes together under your leadership. With these factions, they consist of Autobots, Decepticons, and Mercenaries. Each faction will also come with their own unique identifiers. With Autobots, they have red coloring and the Autobot insignia found in the lower right-hand corner of the card. With Decepticons, they have purple coloring and the Decepticon insignia found in the lower right-hand corner of the card. For Mercenaries, they have gray coloring and the Mercenary insignia found in the lower right-hand corner of the card. With the majority of the characters, they have 2 modes, Alt Mode and Bot Mode. However, Triple Changers have 3 modes, Alt 1 Mode, Alt 2 Mode, and Bot Mode. The mode that's currently face up will tell the character's current stats and abilities. With combiners, they have a similar layout of a trouble changer, but one side consists of a part of the larger character. With a deck, it needs to have at least 40 battle cards in it. With these battle cards, they include both action and upgrade cards. When constructing your deck, you cannot have more than 3 of the same battle card in it. When it comes to that of the setup, it is pretty simple and straightforward. It is a 2-player game, and before play begins, each player will place the character cards that make up their team in front of themselves on the battlefield. With them being laid out, they're going to have alt mode facing up unless you're talking about triple changers who will have alt 1 mode facing up. Once the characters have been laid out, each player will shuffle the battle cards and place the deck face down off to one side, typically beside the player. For the scrap pile, it sits next to your battle card deck and is where you will place your battle cards during the course of the game face up. If you're told to scrap a card, it is to the scrap pile where they go. If the deck runs out of battle cards during play, reshuffle the cards found in the respective player's scrap pile and then place them face down. This will become your new deck. When reshuffling, it can happen at any time, even in the middle of a battle. From there, randomly determine who will go first and switch who goes first for each new game. Each player will then draw 3 battle cards from the top of their respective deck and place them into their hand. For a simplified version of the game and to learn the basic mechanic, ignore the flavor text on the character cards. When it comes to how to play, we will be going over how to play the game itself and what can happen in any given turn. Although these rules might not be comprehensive and might not address every situation that might occur during gameplay, it can be used to handle most situations. It is worth noting that with the instructions found on the card, if it contradicts the rules found here, then the card's text will take precedence. With the turn itself, it is divided into 5 phases, with most of them being further divided into constituent parts that are taken in a set order. At the beginning of the turn, the player whose turn it is will draw a card. From there, said player will resolve any abilities that happen at the start of the player's turn or at the start of every turn. The player may then perform any of the following actions in any order they wish. First, they can flip one of their characters from the alt mode to bot mode or vice versa. If the character is a triple changer, then said character can be flipped to an alternate mode. This can be a character found on the battlefield or in the KO area. With triple changers, they can flip to either alt mode, and if a card says to flip a triple changer to an alt mode, it can be flipped to either alt mode if the character is in bot mode. But if it is already in an alt mode, you can choose not to flip it, or you can choose to flip it to the other alt mode. Second, you can play an action card from your hand, including a secret action. An action is an action, regardless if it's secret or not. When playing an action or secret action, do what the card says and then set it off to one side, followed by getting it into the scrap pile at the end of the turn. With the secret action, it is an action that is played face down and will get revealed when it says to reveal it, followed by using its ability. If unused, put it into your scrap pile at the start of your next turn. When you play a card that tells you to scrap or reveal cards from the top of your deck, you only have 1 or 2 cards left in your deck, and then you do something else with those cards are not reshuffled. So you scrap the top cards, reshuffle all other cards in your scrap pile into your deck, then you'll return 1 or both scrap cards to your hand, depending upon what they are. If you only had 1 card left in your deck when this triggered, then draw and scrap a second card after reshuffling. When a card tells you to do multiple actions, always do them in the order that is instructed. And while performing any action card, it can be played even if you cannot carry out some of the instructions. Just do as much as you can. If you are unable to follow the instructions found to the left of the arrow on an action card, you will not be able to play that action. Anytime both players are given the same instruction, the player that triggered the situation will go first. Third, they can play an upgrade from their hand and have it applied to one of their characters. With these upgrades, there are 3 kinds: weapons, armor, and utilities. With each character, it can have up to 1 of each kind. If you want to play an upgrade type on the character that already has 1 of that kind, then you will have to scrap the old one. Fourth, they can use the tap ability of one of their untapped characters. With the tapping of their character, it means that the player will turn their character onto its side, while untapping means that the player will turn their character upright and facing the player. When a character attacks, it will cause your character to become tapped. There are also some battle cards that tap and untap characters. The exception to this has to do with the first 2 turns of the game. On turn 1, the player going first can still draw a card but cannot play any other cards found in their hand. They may flip one of their characters and use the tap ability if possible. On turn 2, the player going second can still draw a card but can only play an action card or an upgrade card, but they cannot play both. From turn 3 onward, this phase is unaltered. From there, the player will attack. For the attack phase, it is divided into 3 steps. The attack can count as the turn's required attack or can use an extra attack if it is available. With these steps, they consist of choosing the commands, flipping battle cards, and then resolving attack damage. For choosing the commands, the attacking player will choose one of their untapped characters and tap it, making it the attacker for this round. Any ability that happens after a player chooses an attack and before they choose a defender is resolved. It's worth noting you can attack the same character 2 turns in a row as long as that character is untapped. The attacking player will then choose one of the defending player's tapped characters, which will become the defender. If all the defending characters are untapped, then the attacker will get to choose any of the defending characters to attack. But if some of the defending characters are tapped while others are untapped, then only a tapped character can be attacked. With any ability that triggers when this attacks, when this defends, when this battles, or other triggers, and don't refer to the resulting battle cards being flipped, get resolved. But if the attacking player has all of their characters tapped, then the attack will immediately end and the game will proceed to the post-attack phase. When it comes to flipping battle cards, each player will flip 2 cards from the top of their deck and put them face up into their given play area. This number can be altered though by battle cards and certain keywords giving things such as bold and tough to a character with the value given on any additional card to be flipped. This number is locked in at this time, so if a character gains or loses such an ability after this point, it will not affect how many battle cards will be flipped on this front. Flipping a battle card with a white battle icon by either player will also cause 2 additional cards to be flipped by said player. There's no additional bonus for any additional white battle icons that are flipped beyond the first. With the attacking player, they will flip battle cards first. But before they flip, any abilities that happen before flipping battle icons are to be resolved. After the attacker flips a card, the attacker will get a +1 attack for every orange battle icon they get in the flipped card and add it to the character's attack number highlighted in orange on the character card. The player will also get a +1 for every black battle icon they get on the flipped card. These bonuses are applied immediately before the next card is to be flipped. With any abilities that belong to the attacker that happen after you flip battle cards and before the defender flips are to be resolved. Any abilities that happen when this attacks battles and refers to the result of the attacker flipping battle cards are to be resolved. When the attacking player is done, the defending player will flip battle cards. But before they flip, any abilities that happen before flipping battling cards are to be resolved. After the defending player flips a card, the defender will get a +1 defense for every blue battle icon they get on the flipped card and added to the character's defense number highlighted in blue on the character card. These bonuses are applied immediately before the next card is to be flipped. With any abilities that happen when this attacks battles and refers to the results of the defending flip battle cards are resolved. This also refers to the results of both players flipping battle cards. When it comes to resolving attack damage, if the defender's defense value is equal to or greater than the attacker's attack value, then no attack damage is done. The exception to this has to do with pierce attacks, which can be seen as guaranteed damage if orange battle icons are flipped. If the attack value is greater than the defender's defense value, then the attack damage is dealt to the defender as equal to the difference. With any effects that would modify the amount of attack damage that would be done, have them be applied. If multiple effects can modify this damage, then the attacker will apply the effects first, one at a time, and in the order of their choice. Then the defender will apply the effects, one at a time, and in the order of their choosing. If any attack damage is to be applied, calculate the amount and have that value be placed onto the defender in the form of damage counters. When the total number of damage counters found on the defender is equal to or greater than the character's health, which is highlighted in red, then the character is KO'd. When a character is KO'd, it is out of the game, moved off the battlefield, and set off to one side in the KO area. Its abilities also stop working, though it can still be flipped. When a character is KO'd and placed in the KO area, it retains the damage counters equal to its health. This is true even if the character has taken more damage on the battlefield while fighting. So if a character takes 2 points of damage beyond its base health when it gets KO'd, those 2 extra points of damage are discarded when the character moves into the KO area. The character will also lose any and all of the upgrades when it is KO'd, with the upgrades being placed in the scrap pile. It also does not change mode when it's KO'd, so if it's KO'd in say bot mode, it will remain bot mode when it moves into the KO area. And unless stated otherwise, if a character is brought back to the battlefield from the KO area, it comes back in the mode it was in while in the KO area and will be untapped. With flipping of characters in the KO area, they are allowed to do so as your flipping action, but they cannot be changed through the use of an action card or the abilities of another character. And unless otherwise stated, the abilities printed on a character card do not trigger when they are flipped in the KO area. After dealing with the damage, the game enters the post-attack phase where any ability that happens after the attack will occur. This includes the effects of the green battle icons. If the attacker must or may attack again due to having an extra attack, then return to the attack step addressed earlier. If the defending player has any remaining untapped characters, your turn is over and the game will proceed to the ending the turn phase. If the defending player has no untapped characters, but the attacking player has at least one untapped character, then the attacking player will get an additional attack equal to the untapped characters, causing the game to return to the attack phase. This can be informally known as attacking out. Keep attacking with your characters until all of your characters have been tapped. If all characters on both sides have been tapped, untap them all and your turn is over. Then proceed to the ending of the turn phase. During the ending of the turn phase, a few bookkeeping steps will occur, with any abilities that happen at the end of the turn get resolved. Both players will then put all of their face-up battle cards found in their play area and used during the attack put into the respective scrap piles. Also put any attacks that were played into their scrap pile. The defending player will also put any face-down secret actions that they have in play into their scrap pile face-up. These secret actions will have no effect. With any effect that will last until the end of turn will wear off. If anything just described causes an ability to trigger or a character to be KO'd, then repeat this phase until nothing is pending and until end of turn effects have worn off. From there, the turn will end. At the end of the turn, the defending player will reveal all face-down secret actions. In order to win the game, the player will need to KO all of their opponent's characters. This is achieved through the players taking turns attacking their opponent's character cards. Once your opponent's characters have all been KO'd, you win. The game will also end when a player deemed the winner if a player fulfills the win conditions listed on a given battle card. When it comes to battle cards, they possess a series of battle icons found in the upper right hand corner of the card, although some exist without them. For those that possess battle icons, they can appear in a number of 1, 2, or 3, with some even possessing specialized icons on them. They are also color-coded, consisting of orange, blue, white, black, and green. Some character and battle cards are also dependent upon the flipping of certain colored battle icons. With any ability that looks at what battle icons that are flipped during battle, finish flipping your battle cards, including the bonus flips, before checking if the ability triggers or not. With each orange battle icon, it provides 1 attack value for each battle. With each blue battle icon, it provides 1 defense value for each battle. With the white battle icon, it provides 2 extra flip for each battle. With each black battle icon, it provides 1 pierce for each battle. And since it is an offensive ability, black battle icons will do nothing when flipped by a defensive character. With the green battle icon, it allowed the player to swap 1 battle card that was flipped during combat that possessed a green battle icon on it with the card from the player's hand. This occurred before the flipped cards were placed into the scrap pile. You are also only allowed to swap 1 green battle icon card, regardless of how many cards with the green battle icon on it have been flipped. With the card that is swapped, it gets placed into the scrap pile. And if both the attacker and the defender flip green battle icons, the attacker will swap before the defender will. In addition to the standard battle icons that have just been described, there are also hybrid battle icons. With these battle icons, they consisted of both color and a symbol of a trait. With hybrid battle icons, they counted as their given color when flipped, but only if it matched the character's trait. If the hybrid battle icon and the character's trait did not match, then the hybrid battle icon would have had no effect. With in-game effects, if we refer to a battle icon that was flipped and the hybrid battle icon is flipped, it will trigger the effect even if the character does not match the printed trait. When it comes to keywords, there are several of them and they have numerical modifiers, with many cases having their effects be cumulative. With the trait, it refers to a given feature or features of a character such as melee, leader, and tank. With their location, they appear as tabbed icons in the upper right hand corner of the character card near the character's name. With bold and tough, they modify how many cards are flipped during a battle, with bold being used for attack and tough being used for defense. If a character has multiple instances of either keyword, flip additional cards equal to the total numerical value. So if a character has an ability and an upgrade accompanied by an action allowing either bold or tough, then all those numbers count towards said outcome. For Pierce, it sets the minimal amount of damage where it will do at least as much damage as the total Pierce number, but not greater than the total attack number. If the attack has Pierce and has an attack value less than its Pierce value, then the attack damage is raised to the Pierce value or the attack value, whichever is smaller. If the attacker has Pierce, but the attack value would do as much or more damage than its Pierce value, then Pierce will have no effect during the attack. This keyword is also cumulative. However, it is possible for other effects of the game to overrule this. With Focus, it allows the player to look at the top of their deck before flipping battle cards. If the player does not like what they see, then they can scrap that card in the hopes that they will flip a better one. Focus can also have a numerical value printed on it, allowing the player to look at multiple cards from playing a single card. And though it is a single action trigger, it is cumulative, so if a character has multiple instances of Focus, their player may look at that number of cards in their deck. There is also a possibility that multiple Focus effects can occur with a deck possessing fewer battle cards than this Focus number. If this occurs, set aside the remaining cards in the deck, reshuffle the scrap pile, and then draw up the remaining cards that are to be focused upon. Look at the battle card that was set aside alongside the card drawn from the reshuffled deck and decide if you want to scrap them or put them back on top of the deck. Characters can also have focus as a special ability that they could use. But this focus can only be used when the character is battling, not if any other character on your team is battling. With Plan, it is a means of helping you set up a devastating battle. When instructed to do so, you can put cards onto the top of your deck. When using Plan, you can put down the specified number of cards from your hand. If you are putting down more than one card onto the top of the deck, then you can put these cards into any order you wish. With Safeguard, it is a keyword ability that will limit the amount of damage a character can take while it is undamaged. This protection applies to all damage, including those done by actions and other abilities, but it will not work if damage counters are moved onto said character. So once a character is damaged, Safeguard will no longer work. Safeguard can also apply to the same character more than once, as well as to a character that was damaged during the game but later repaired up to full health. Its effects are also cumulative, so be careful when you do this. With a higher Safeguard number, it actually makes this ability less effective. This is due to the fact that a higher numerical value allows for a greater amount of damage to go through before this keyword comes to effect. With Revenge, it is a triggered ability that triggers when the character with this keyword is KO'd. There aren't too many characters with this keyword and they are only found on Decepticons. With Brave, it is a means by which a character can protect the rest of their team by causing the attacking player to have to go after that character with a Brave keyword if possible. When there is more than one legal target with a Brave keyword, then the attacker can choose which one to attack. But the Brave keyword does not overrule the rules for attacking tapped and untapped characters. You'll still have to attack any tapped character, even if the untapped character has Brave. It is when all the characters are tapped, untapped, or the Brave character is attacked that you must attack that character. With Stealth, it lets some characters strike from the shadows without the fear of reprisal by causing the attacking player to attack a character without Stealth first, if possible. But the Stealth keyword does not override the rules for attacking a tapped or untapped character. If the Stealth character is the only illegal target, you'll have to attack that tapped character even if it has Stealth. And if a character has both Brave and Stealth, then these keywords cancel each other out and the character should be treated as just a regular character. With Bounty, it consists of two parts: the trigger condition that tells you when to use this ability, and the bounty ability itself, which gives you a reward. Even though many bounties may be the same, the rewards are different for each card. And the bounty ability will still trigger even if you deliver more than enough damage to KO an enemy character. So with that said, that's what you need to know about the basics of Transformers. With that taken care of, we can now move on to the game mechanics. If you liked this episode, feel free to give it a like, and if you want to stay up to date on any future episodes that we upload, then go ahead and subscribe. You can also support us on Patreon for as little as $1 a month at patreon.com/checkpointgaming. See you in the next episode, and happy gaming.